Hello, in this video, I'll explain how views work in .NET 5 MVC. To return a view, we use the view method in our controller action methods. By default, the name of the view is the same as the name of the action method, so in this case it will look for a view called test page 1. Obviously, when we navigate to the page we now get an error message, since the view does not exist yet. As explained in the error message, it tried to look for the view in two folders. The first folder it searched was the test folder. This is because our controller is called test. Since the view did not exist in there, it looked for it in the shared folder as a fallback. I'll now go ahead and create the view in the test directory within the existing views directory. As shown, the view is now rendered using the default layout. The default layout file is defined in the view start file. This references the file _layout in the shared views directory. You can see that it calls the render body method. This renders the main view that is specified in the controller. We can override this layout and specify our own. To do this, create a new file in the shared views directory. I'll call the new layout mylayout.cshtml. Inside it, I'll define a basic HTML page. I'll put a call to the render body method to render the main view. Now, in the view, I can specify the layout variable to use the new layout. Now, when I refresh the page, you can see that the new layout is being used. By default, the name of the view is the name of the action method. If we want, we can specify a custom view name in the first argument in the view method. I'll change the view for this action to myView. I can now go ahead and rename the existing view in the views directory. Now, when I refresh the page, you can see it still works the same as before, as expected. Of course, if we change the view name, it will fail. One way of sending data to the view is to use something called ViewData. The ViewData is a dictionary available as a property on the controller class. I'll define a key called demo with a string value of 123. Then, we can output the value in the view like this. We can store any data type within ViewData. I'll demo this by storing and using an array and a boolean. I'll store an array using a key called SumInts. And I'll store a boolean in a key called SumBool. You can loop through an array defined in the ViewData using syntax like this. We have to typecast the statement because ViewData is not a strongly typed data structure. We can use the other key we defined in an if statement, in the same way we did the for each statement. When using ViewData, we have to use these typecasts. These are not ideal as there are no compile time checks, there are no IntelliSense code suggestions, and it also makes our code harder to read. We can solve these problems by using something called view models. These are classes that define the data used in our view. I'll go ahead and create a view model called myView.cs. Within it, I'll define properties for the same data I defined in the ViewData. Now, in our controller, we can remove the statements declaring ViewData. And, instead, we can pass a new instance of the view model into the view method. Now, in the view, we can declare that the model is myView. This creates a strongly typed view. We can then go ahead and replace the ViewData usage with the model. Since a model is defined, there is no need to do any typecasting anymore. One thing I forgot to mention before, is that layouts can have sections. So for example, our layout could have an optional section called footer, and then we can define its content in the main view. To define a section within the layout, we use the renderSection method. The first argument is the name of the section, and the second argument is whether it is an optional section or not. Then in our main view, we can define the section content by putting it within a section directive. Now you can see that the footer content is rendered within our layout. In the next video, we'll look at how to set up a database in our application.